Hello Malaysians, my name is Professor Dr. Muhammad Tajuddin, and for this video I would like to share with you my thoughts about the topic of is PAS trying to make enemies of the citizens of Malaysia? Is PAS trying to divide us as a nation so that they can win? But still, the most terrible thing is that are they trying to make us enemies of one another, which has a wider implication than just winning election. So I hope you will stay with me in listening to how I will explain about the dangers of what PAS represents to our country. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to make a confession that I was a member of Parti Islam Malaysia for 30 years. I became a member after Anwar Ibrahim was unjustly imprisoned, and PAS was the lead party and the lead entity to fight for his release. Before that, I knew PAS when I was student days, or in America when I was a student studying under the JPA scholarship. For 6 years, I was in the United States, and I had followed the students that formed themselves into the Malaysian Islamic Study Group, or we call them MISG. Now, MISG has some sort of root with ABIM and Ikram in a sense, though may not be directly, but they have the same spirit, and they also have some relationship with Parti Islam Malaysia. It was in Chicago, it was in DeKalb, Illinois, that I went to training camps and met personalities like Pak Imaduddin from Indonesia talking about Islamic reform. Met Syahri Sunggit, who goes by the name of Abu Urwah, who wrote books about how Islamic reform can come about. As well as I met Fadil Noor, who was the president of PAS before Hadi Awang took the mantle of leadership. So I was very familiar with the thoughts of Abdul Hadi Awang, or Tuan Guru Hadi Awang, because I bought 200 cassettes. In those days we have cassettes, so we don't have iPods and all this. We have the Walkman, if some of you may remember. And I used to do my drawings and listen to Hadi Awang define or give explanations about the Quran. So I have 200 of his cassettes, not only the Quranic tafsir, but also other speeches on Islamic reform. Now, why did I support PAS after the imprisonment of Anwar Ibrahim? Number one, I supported PAS because they showed the values of Islam that I had studied and that I had read, that I heard lectures of, and that I had contemplated, and then I had decided to be part of the Islamic reform as a true Muslim. Now, what is it that they preach? During that time, PAS was preaching the idea of a just Islam, meaning Islam is a justice for all. Regardless of race, regardless of religion, if you study Islam, you will see that it does not put race like Malay ahead of the principles of Islam, because anyone can be a Muslim, and so that is the creed that they have, and that is attractive to me because I did not like racism. Secondly, they promised to eradicate corruption simply by saying that, look, corruption, something that God will see. Meaning, if all of the Muslims who became administrators fear God, then we don't need so much check and balance like the MACC, because they will all be afraid of God's wrath. And that is how Western models of democracy and political administration to them has failed, because they don't have the fear of God. Western civilization, to most of the Islamic reform people like Anwar and Hadi, claim that the Western model had split from Christianity, and the idea of a divine evaluation and things like that. So they have nothing to make them fear in secret. So if they can get away with things, then they will get away with things. But you cannot get away with God seeing whatever you do. So that was the concept. And also, PAS promised the idea of the taking care of the world and the planet in terms of the idea of the Khalifah, meaning the idea of vice currency, meaning you are taking care of the environment because it's like a borrowed thing from God. So that means you have to take care of it. Pollution and all that must be taken care of immediately. So I was attracted to all these ideals, but I never joined PAS yet until Anwar Ibrahim was imprisoned unjustly. And then Parti Islam Malaysia was the lead in this trying to get justice for Anwar Ibrahim. Now at that time, PAS, ABIM, Ikram joined together to fight against the Barisan Nasional as well as UMNO. But before that, ABIM, Ikram and also Anwar Ibrahim was in one sense supporting the Anwar Mahathir leadership in UMNO. But when Anwar was in prison, then many of Anwar's friends were also taken into prison, and the crackdown like Operasi Lalang took place, which was, I thought, the blackest mark in the history of our country, aside from the May 13. So my awakening in politics came with the imprisonment of Anwar Ibrahim, and I followed PAS and I bought Harakah at that time, shot up the circulation to be 350,000, which went above Berita Harian, Utusan Malaysia, and even the Star, as well as the New Straits Times. They were nowhere. Now, in 1999 election, there could have been a change of government because of the injustice to Anwar, of which it was very clear how the authorities like the police and the judiciary, to many of us who are citizens, felt that they were under the control of Mahathir. The charges were ridiculous. The charges were absolutely circumstantial, and they kept changing the dates and things like, you can't do things like that. But it was done, and Anwar was in prison before he was sentenced. And then when he was sentenced, the days that he spent in prison was also not taken into consideration. This is how zalim or cruel Tun Dr. Mahathir was. And who supported Tun Dr. Mahathir? It was UMNO. And it was also many of the non-Malays, which are many of you listening to this YouTube. I'm sorry to say, many of your, if you are 25, 30 years old, then it is your parents who had supported Barisan Nasional, because they were looking after the economy and they didn't care much about the fate of one innocent individual called Anwar Ibrahim. In 2004, when Mahathir left, Barisan Nasional scored a landslide victory, leaving the opposition with only very few seats. Who supported it? But mostly the non-Malays. I think the Malays at that time, UMNO lost the support of over 60% of the Malays, and change of government could have come if the non-Malays would have voted for the opposition. At that time, it was DAP and PAS working together, and PAS at that time had people like Muhammad Sabu, Dr. Zulkifli, Mujahid Rawa, all these great progressive thinkers. Now, I became a member of PAS simply because I was working for the government, and Dr. Mahathir said that anyone who wants to buy Harakah, then they must be a member. And so I did. Thank you, Tun Mahathir. And since then, I've attended many of the ceramah by Hadi Awang, by Fazil Noor, by Nick Aziz, by Muhammad Sabu. All these are the great leaders, as well as the PKR people like Azmin Ali, who was still with PKR then, like Ezza Muhammad Noor, Lokman Nur Adam even, as well as the present YB Saifuddin Nasution. So I followed very closely, and I supported them with what money I have. I didn't have that much money, but whatever I did, I have given. And also, I also supported them in terms of my thoughts and ideas with friends, sometimes with students that had earned me some reputation among certain authorities. So that was a bit of a cost to my career. But I didn't care because the Islam in me was very strong in order to get justice, and so I didn't think that we could beat Barisan Nasional. But I just thought that as a Muslim, then I must support PAS, and I also must support the Reformasi movement, even though it was just to try to get the freedom for one person. So for me, 1%, 100%, 1,000%, doesn't matter. Injustice is injustice. But to some people, they weigh other things, and so this is something that they have to live with. Now, many of the things happening now that is very terrible is also the result of the support of the non-Muslims to the UMNO regime at that time. So please don't try to blame just Malays, although I do know that most Malays were the ones in UMNO that was making the country in a terrible situation. Now, fast forward after the nearing the 2018 election, in which in 2016, when Fazil Noor passed away, Hadi Awang took power, and I was very happy because I like Hadi Awang. I've been to his house, I've talked to him directly, and there's even a picture of me with him. And he was a humble man, and when he became chief minister, I was very proud. I even slept at his mosque, in which he would in Marang, the mosque in Marang, as well as attended all the what they call conference or muktamar for the Parti Islam Malaysia elections, as well as talks and political speeches and things like that. So I was very close with PAS. I was even a member as well as part of the Jawatan Kuasa or committee member in one of the branches. Now, in 2016, 2017, Najib Tun Razak began to sense that he might lose if he did not get the attention of PAS and make a partnership. And so they began to work together, although they tried to hide it, but nobody was fooling. And then suddenly we see that in 2018, PAS put in a lot of, even though they don't have a lot of money, I know because I was a member and they were taking donation all the time. And suddenly they are putting candidates all over the place. And where did this money come from? So that was not too bad because it was just part of the political system. Okay, you want to accept money from some people, and whether it's one MDB money or not, and whatever, it is also part of politics to have this idea where you work together and put in candidates to lose, so that you can split the votes and things like that. For me, okay lah, if you want to do that, that's part of politics, and I didn't think it was a terrible thing. Now, after winning the 2018 and looking at the Sheraton move, PAS became the government, and after that, we're looking at the 2018 election, after the 2018 election, and then after that is the 2022 election, sorry. It was then that we see how PAS has turned into something very, very black and very, very terrible. First, we see that Hadi Awang was saying that the non-Muslims were like animals. And that, to me, is a very insulting thing to say. It's something that should not be said, because he was saying that in the issue of dress codes and things like that, and he said that these people are animals, tidak bermaruah. And then he went on to say that corruption is caused mostly by the non-Muslim because they don't believe in God, they don't fear God. even though most of the people who are taken into custody are Muslims, but yet he says that this is caused by non-Muslim, especially non-Muslims were the one offering the corruption. And a lot of my friends also say like that. They say it's not the fault of Muslim, then it is the non-Muslim. I said, yeah, if they offer, why are you accepting it? You know, it's a sin. So they say, well, how are you going to refuse millions of ringgit and things like that? Can you actually refuse? I said, maybe it is not that they offer, it's just that the Malays themselves ask for it. And so, have you ever thought about that? And so they refuse to believe that, and this is a mainstream belief. And Hadi Awang, even though it is disgusting for him to say that, actually it is part of a mainstream belief that the Chinese or the non-Malays or non-Muslim are the ones that cause the corruption. Well, that is something for me not true, but also not too bad. Then we see also the issue of one of this election where the past member was trying to relate the DAP candidate coming from vernacular school. Suddenly PAS is playing with the politics of race, in which during the early days they said Islam does not care about race, and if Islam supports Malay, this is wrong, this is sinful, and if Islam does injustice to non-Malays, it is also sinful. But then we see PAS playing with the racial politics now. Again, all this, all right, I mean, in this country, insulting and also playing this game of race, we're used to insult by UMNO leaders like Tajuddin Abdul Rahman, Bong Mohtar. I mean, we're used to that, even though we hate that, but that's the thing. And so the shock that I got was when PAS member in Parliament recited the Qunut Nazilah in Parliament. That was a total shock to me, because if you were to check what is the Qunut Nazilah is a prayer that asks God or Allah to destroy the enemies of Islam. Now, first question, who is this enemy of Islam? Apparently, it must be the unity government. And who is the unity government? Or who are they comprising of? They're comprising of most non-Malays and also Malays. So suddenly PAS is making an enemy of all those also who supported the unity government. We can see Sabahan, Sarawakan, who supported the unity government and also voted to suspend Wan Faisal, of which that is what the Qunut Nazilah was recited for. So here is a different situation, ladies and gentlemen. The insults of calling non-Muslim animals is one thing, or the insult of saying that non-Muslims are corrupt. Well, he is attacking non-Muslim, and also saying that non-Muslims are from vernacular school, again non-Muslim. But here is making the idea of all, including Muslims, all those who supported the unity government, which is like half of Malaysia or even a little bit more. So the second thing is that the Qunut Nazilah declared enemies. And why is it that in a political debate you are turning something that you are angry at into enemies of Islam? Why put Islam into parliament in this manner? Unless you want to give a narrative to the Muslim people of Malaysia that all these people who supported the unity government, doesn't matter who they are, Muslims and non-Muslim, they are the enemies of Islam. So here is a very, very dangerous situation, ladies and gentlemen. Many non-Muslims don't understand this, and many Muslims even don't understand the implication of this. For me, this is a blackest time. Much worse than the May 13, even though the May 13 cost many lives. But this, if it is not taken very seriously, is going to destroy this country for a very long time. And finally, we see the past member calling Kafir Harbi to the DAP. First he said to the DAP. DAP comprises of Malays and non-Malays. But he used the word Kafir Harbi when Qunut Nazilah used the word enemies of Islam. So Kafi Hari is about non-Muslim who are at war with Muslim. So that means they can be killed. So the use of Kafi Hari is a very, very serious allegation and accusation. Now, according to Siddiq Fadzil, I think the father of one of our YB Fadlina, a very good and great Muslim, he says in his speech that we cannot use the word Kafi Harbi anymore because we are citizens of each other in the nation. We must treat each other as a brotherhood of citizenship. We are brothers of citizens, not enemies just because they are non-Muslim. In the olden days, there are only Muslims and enemies of Muslim. Now, those are the older days when Islam was at war all the time or many times. So that is not supposed to be a relevant thing. So here is a situation where not only the DAP that the speaker said, the one who made the speech in the ceramah of Nenggiri, he also said UMNO, who supported the AP, is also the enemy. So UMNO is consisting of all the Malays, and DAP also consists of Malays and non-Malays. And Anwar Ibrahim and the Pakatan Harapan and the GPS and the GRS also support the DAP at the current time. So they are all also considered what? Kafi Harbi. So this is where we are at, ladies and gentlemen, and I have never thought that I would see this day come where one political party has declared these other citizens who do not support this political party as enemies of Islam. Not enemies of past, mind you. It's enemies of Islam. That is bigger. If it's enemies of past, okay, I will admit I am enemy of past. But can all of us accept the idea that we are enemies of Islam? This is a very dangerous situation. And at the present time, no one in past is making any apology, whether for the Qunut Nazilah or for the Kafi Harbi. What they did was to say that the person who spoke about Kafi Harbi has been suspended for 3 days. This is adding insult to injury. Now, in Islam, we have a principle. If you do wrong to a person, let's say you steal money, doesn't matter Muslim or non-Muslim, then you must return the thing that you stole and you must ask for forgiveness. So the person will say, I accept my things back and I forgive you. Then only God will forgive you. If you go to prison, God will still not forgive you, because you haven't given the money back that you stole, as well as you did not ask for forgiveness. So if you call somebody, let's say you are like a pig or something like that, then you must ask forgiveness and that person must say, I forgive you. Let's say you say, Anwar Ibrahim, you are a pig, and so you must ask forgiveness for Anwar. Anwar must forgive you. Or if Anwar doesn't want to forgive you, then you can say, please call me a pig. This is, you can check with the ulama about what is called Islamic justice. But here, no one has apologized. And so for me, it shows that this political party is a very dangerous party for Malaysia, unless they show the idea of that they are apologizing or they are remorseful, menyesal for saying so, and look the part of menyesal, then I don't think this political party should be a legal entity in this country. Because if we allow such political party, we are basically allowing some people to divide us, not only to divide us in terms of race, pendatang and things like that, but also to call each other enemies of a religion, which is Islam. Not enemies of the political party, but enemies of Islam, which is a very big accusation to me. So for me, ladies and gentlemen, what PAS has done to me has crossed so many lines, and this is the ultimate line, and we need to understand that we should no longer support this party. We should no longer consider having any political party working with this political party, because I'm sure PAS will still have a lot of Malay supporters who will put them in power. Maybe they will get 40 seats or 50 seats, but I hope that no political party like the ones in Sabah or Sarawak or even in Semenanjung, they must not work with this political party. They cannot put up a pact simply because, hey, this is a coalition. No, cannot, because you have crossed the line of calling and making us enemies of one another. And worse, it's not just one another, it is enemies of Islam, of which is a greater implication altogether. And so I hope that all of us would take this into serious consideration when we think about this political party, whether it should actually exist in this country. Thank you.